Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1435, written by Belak 4862. Our 20-mile leap in just 10 minutes. I had just picked up a coworker from her house heading to work. We are just talking and chatting. How'd your weekend go type of stuff. We are maybe 5 miles away from her house, when all of a sudden, we realize we're in town, pulling into her working parking lot. We both kind of look at each other, not sure what happened. We had gone near 20 miles in the blink of an eye. And what cemented this experience is something that actually happened, and not just simply losing track of time, is the time. It should have taken us almost half an hour to get to work. Instead, the time from when I picked her up was 2:30. And the time when we got to the building was 2:40. There's no way in hell we could have gotten there that fast. From that point on, we both called that experience the time when we jumped, like from the movie Jumper. Case also file 1435. Our 20-mile leap in just 10 minutes. So there is of course highway hypnosis, driving on autopilot. But that shouldn't happen with two people in the car talking to each other. And even then, the time factor proves it is a glitch, or to me, a normal phenomenon of space-time portals. I'm not convinced these are just aberrations of the universe, though. They're too precise for that. No one gets ported into the planet itself, or under the water, or in space or anything. It's always on the surface, a very thin crust from the planet, so the odds of that are actually very low, if it was entirely random. So given that it's not random, maybe it's placed by aliens, or by our own government conducting some sort of technology experiment. I'm actually not sure which is more terrifying. Case file number 1436, written by EvenAd1701. A Frosty mystery. I moved in a really cold climate, around -30 Celsius, -4 Fahrenheit, and for the last 3 or 4 days I had to wear my scarf, the sort that covers your face and ears. Yesterday, I wore it to collect my package and came back. 20 minutes walk. The weather is so cold, there is no chance for me to take it away anywhere during the walk. Besides, I had headphones on too, so it's not possible to take the scarf away without taking the headphones off. I didn't stop anywhere along the way and headed directly to the postal machine and back. Came home, put my hat and scarf on the shelf, and started checking out my package. All was fine. Except in the evening when I was dressing up again to go out for a drink. The scarf was nowhere to be found. I live in a really small shared dorm room and don't have a roommate right now, so one shelf is empty. I checked every part of my small shelf 5 times. My desk, under the bed, bed sheets, my bag, the kitchen, bathrooms, nothing. Went to the dorm help desk for lost items as a last resort and it wasn't there either. I tend to lose some stuff and find it shortly after, but this is different. It's like you came home with your pants on, but then your pants are nowhere to be found. Case on file 1436. A Frosty mystery. Brilliant, a frosty heaven. Damn, I miss the cold. It's been so hot here in North Carolina, even into January. The damn El Nino event is keeping us toasty. And also somewhat rainy. Maybe next year, when I'm up in New Hampshire, I'll get my white Christmas again. You don't realize how much you'll miss something until you don't have it. It's only been a bit over 2.5 years since I left Canada. Anywho, this is a classic DOP indeed, or just a really cold ghost. Probably a DOP. Creepy file written by Zero Tesaurus Zero. The unexplained disappearance of my best boy, Voyou. My dog literally vanished. We locked the house with the dog in it to go get some food. When we came back half an hour later, he wasn't in the house anymore. There was no possible exit for him. No windows, no holes, nothing. We were 3 to have seen him inside the house before we left. The only explanation we have to this day is kind of crazy and we can't prove it. So we'll never be sure, but here it is. One of our neighbors was an old lady. We were nice with her, despite the fact that she was kind of a cold type of person. Sometimes, we did some mutual favors like in a typical neighbor's relationship. But over time, she started to become more and more weird. Later, we learned she had developed a form of dementia. It was quite sad to watch her become more and more crazy, for lack of a better word. In the end, her son put her in a mental institution for old people. A few years later, we started connecting the dots. Before she drifted into insanity, we once gave her a set of our house keys so she could water the plants and take our mail during vacations. She kindly accepted, and that year, We brought her back a nice gift from her vacation to thank her, and she gave us back our spare keys. But now we think that, at that time, she was already starting to lose her mind without anyone really noticing. Because a few months later, coming back from the grocery store, we found her inside our house. We locked the house, yet she found a way to get inside. It was really disturbing, and we discovered that she had another key. The only possible explanation was that she had a copy of our key done while we were on vacation. So back to the vanishing of our dog. Our theory is that this crazy lady had in fact multiple copies of our house key, and then she let our dog out, or she brought him somewhere else, or even killed him. That's the only possible explanation we have found after all these years, but it's so crazy that it's hard to believe, even for us, and we just can't be sure. As for the old lady herself, she sadly died a few years later in the mental institute. I was angry with her for a time, of course, but ultimately her story was mainly sad and painful. She was a victim of her own decaying brain, and there was nothing she could have done against it. In the story, I've lost my childhood best friend. He was a Briard, and his name was Voyou, which means kind thug in French. For years I felt guilty over his vanishing, replaying the scene in my head over and over to check if I hadn't missed something. But in the end we'll never know, and that's what is actually the worst. Case notes for the creepy file. The unexplained disappearance of my best boy, Voyou. Dementia, the natural glitch of the mind. It's horrible to see it happening to someone else, but what I want to know is, how does it feel when it's happening to you? It's not directly painful, like being punched. It's more like reality would start to fade away and distort. Like those horror shows where the whole world appears to have gone mad. You're the only sane one, but you don't realize it's actually the opposite. That is truly stuff of nightmares, like nightmare fuel, as far as you can go. If you cannot trust your own mind, your own self, you're completely lost, and that is just truly sends shivers down my spine. And now time for the poem of the day. Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. Hafiz. It sure does light the sky brilliant, doesn't it? When you give love and you don't expect anything in return. It's simply your being. And this doesn't apply just in relationships, it's just the nature of people who are giving and open and very positive. They shine, and that radiates out to everyone else around them. Everyone within distance of their rays. If you're doing it without expecting anything in return, it truly is genuine. Being around people like that is enchanting. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.